Hey there, Dr. A, founder of the Learning Liaisons, and welcome to this short demo where I'm going to walk you through one of our TExES prep boot camps. So as we go through this boot camp, please keep in mind that all of our courses here at the Learning Liaisons are pretty much set up the same exact way. So when I walk through the modules and how the course is constructed, just keep that in mind, whether it's TExES, 233 History 7 through 12, or SPED, or ESL, or bilingual, or math, whatever it is pretty much going to be the same exact setup, just obviously a different topic of discussion. So without further ado, let's walk through it. So first off, I want to thank you for giving me your few minutes of time as I walk through this. And also I want to reiterate the fact that all of our courses for our TExES Prep Boot Camps are directly aligned with the TEA standards. And we have a curriculum and development department that creates the content and practice questions aligned with TEA. And on top of that, TExES teachers and us, we get access to the rep test, the representative exams. Those are recent exams that the teachers across the state of Texas actually take. We get those old versions of the test and we use those as our practice tests and use those for inspiration to create more content and review for your teachers or college students. So let's get rolling. So like I said before, every course is structured the same way. You'll see on the left-hand side of the screen. We have a welcome for me where I kind of introduce myself, having the right test mindset, talk about the objectives of our boot camps, just a quick introduction to set the stage. Next, and this is one of the major differentiating factors with the Learning Liaisons in any prep resource out there, trust me, I've done my research, is these are led by real deal educators that are in the classroom right now teaching this content in their school district. And most of them have been recent Teachers of the Year and or won some high distinguishing awards for their teaching profession. So here, for example, Mr. Andrew Wade, he is our history or a social studies specialist here at the Learning Liaisons. He leads the history exam, the social studies 7 through 12, and the 4 through 8 as well, and our EC through 6. So he's our sole resident social studies specialist here at TLL. So he talks about his, why he became a teacher, a little bit about his bio, because I want people to know that they're in good hands with people that are really perfected the craft. They're good at what they do, and more importantly, they're enthusiastic about the content, and they share that with your teachers throughout the course. Following up with that, obviously, as an educator, we need to know the objectives of the course.
We're gonna break
and
this
what we
down.
do in these videos is we screen share. You'll see here the Pearson website. He'll walk through the domains, the percentages, talk about the test, the time limits, blah, blah, blah. Kind of gives that basis of knowing about the exam. Because believe it or not, and some of you might already know this from your experience, is that a lot of people, maybe you included, have gone into these exams not knowing anything about the test, just knowing you have to take it and you have to pass. But there's a lot of strategies and nuances to all of these exams that help you kind of beat the test, get extra points, knowing how many questions you need to get right to pass, knowing the percentages of the competencies so you know where to focus your effort in on going over certain concepts and content. So it's real important stuff there. Then obviously we need to have our instructions. It's very simple. And one thing I want to reiterate is whether this is for you as an individual taking these courses or maybe you're representing a school district or university. One of the big things that I've been doing this for years. I started this business doing these workshops back in 2013, 2014. I'm working with a lot of school districts, helping thousands of college students and teachers on an individual basis as well. And what a lot of people want to do when they study for any of these exams, regardless of the state, is they want practice tests. Everybody wants practice questions. Well, you know what? Those don't really help you as much. It's all about how you use those results, because your test is not going to look anything like any course, any book that you buy, nothing. Will they cover the skills that you're going to test it on? Of course they will, right? But they don't look like that. So it's all about strategy and understanding how these questions are written and knowing how to target what concepts are most important. So my background, my doctorate is in curriculum instruction. I train teachers. That's my profession. The whole teaching pedagogy, how people learn, how people grow, that's my gig. And that's how I structure these courses. So the reason with this whole little often right field discussion is because I want to reiterate the fact of don't jump around. follow the instructions in the course. I built it a certain way. Sometimes I make little changes and adaptations to it to make it better based on the survey results that we get after all of these boot camps. But I want to reiterate the fact is don't jump around. Don't go straight to the practice test. You know, once in a while when people call or they email that they failed and they took one of the boot camps, guess what? One of two things happen when I pull up their account and look at their progress. Either one, they didn't do it. And two, which happens scarily too much, is they'll just go to the quizzes and the tests. They don't watch the videos. They don't watch the teachers teach the content. They don't watch the in-depth video rationales of the instructors going through the practice questions, because that just reiterates my point that I just mentioned a minute ago, is you can't just try to do a bunch of practice tests and expect to pass. You got to know high-level concepts, and you have to have those strategies. So follow the instructions. Next, part of the Learning Liaisons community is we have a private Facebook group. These are only for customers, people who are in our courses, and all of the teachers are in there. So for example, if you have a history question, you can go in there, tag Mr. Wade, Andrew Wade, and he'll answer the question within 24 hours for you. This is not an additional charge. This is part of building that community of learners, building that confidence, building that support, which all teachers and college students deserve on their journey towards certification. And then we have a quick little pre-survey, pre-bootcamp survey, because we want to, simple questions, takes 2 seconds, just want to know some of the frustrations, want to know what you are, college student, teacher, paraprofessional, substitute, other. How many times have you taken it, and what other exams do you need to take? Just some quick data that we reference to as we go through all this stuff from time to time. And then module 2, we jump into it. So depending on your exam, maybe it's the PPR and it's 4 different domains. Maybe in this case, it's history where it's a different number of domains. They're all set up the same way. So you'll see here, domain 1, world history, percentage of the exam. Little welcome here for me. Then we list straight off of Pearson all the things that are covered. Now, a couple things I want to point out. Number 1, this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is straight off the Pearson website. We do this for every single exam because a lot of people like to print this off or just reference it to it, because you can look at here and it has all of the key words here, all of the concept areas that you should be familiar with. Now, do you have to go memorize this? Of course not. You don't go memorize all this stuff because you don't have to know all the content to pass this exam. So we go over that in the course to teach you strategies. So we'll list that. Next, what we'll do is we have a series of pre-quizzes. Some modules have 1 pre-quiz. This example of a course has multiple pre-quizzes in each competency. They're all timed. All this data, if you're a school district or university watching this, all this data could be provided to you upon your request. It'll show the assessments, the practice tests, the quizzes, how the duration of time they're spending in each module, the courses as a whole, all kinds of data points that we can provide to you at your request. If you're an individual teacher watching this, well, we can go in there and look at and see, maybe if you're struggling with something, I could go in there and look and see what you're watching, what you're not watching. Maybe you're just not doing the course the right way and help you. So this is a timed exam. After each pre-quiz in every single course, you can download all the questions and all the content. So these are all the slides that the teacher is actually teaching off of, right? So you could have, a lot of people like to you could download it right here and print it for best practice to take notes on it, because just because there are some bullet points on here, that's not the teacher is not reading off of it. They're using this as a guideline and they'll give their thoughts on top of it as well. So a lot of people like to print it off and take notes with it. After that little section, we break up the content. We've got another pre-quiz with different questions. Everything's timed right here. They just go through the test. Same process, download. Everything's downloadable. Then at the end of each module, we have content review. We have videos where we go over the questions in depth. So you hear Mr. Wade goes through all the questions. He'll highlight, underline, circle, maybe talk a little more content depending on the question. But every module is set up the same way. Pre-quiz, download of the questions, videos going in depth on all the questions that the teacher just did within this modules. And we also have flashcards. So for the social studies one, they're towards the end. But typically in a lot of the courses, you'll see the flashcard segmented in that domain. So we would have flashcards just for world history, but we do that a little bit different in this course. U.S. history, same thing. Pre-quiz, download, video, where Mr. Wade goes over all the content and the questions. Here in the upper level history courses, we have a little more extensive content review because there's a lot of content when it comes to history and social studies. So we have some lecture style videos here for the different aspects. And these are the same type of videos that you'll see in social studies 7 through 12 as an example. And to point out that everything has a read along transcript that also can be downloaded on there as well. See, I'm just downloading it on the bottom there. So just a little something to point out for you. You can download this and you can change the scrolling and the text size as well. So I don't know about you, but as I'm getting older, I think need things a little bit bigger for my text, but that's just me. TExES history, same thing. You'll see quizzes, downloads, video lectures, same process. Then we have foundations, reading and research. Here are the flashcards for history. Some courses I put them at the end before the practice test, but for probably 90% of them, they're built into each separate module pertaining to that specific content. And then we got a practice test. So here, full practice test. They'll go through timed, and then Mr. Wade goes through all of them and takes his time in detail and discusses all of the questions for you. At the end of every course, we have a bonus section where I teach you how to use your practice test results, talk about how long to study for, and then a little 5 things to do right before your test. Some of these videos are also expanded and included on our YouTube channel at the Learning Liaisons as well. We got a little celebrate. We like to celebrate success here. So all of our teachers give a little celebration speech at the end. We have a little information about tutoring. This is not included in the price of the boot camp, but some teachers, need a little extra help. To be all honest with you, the biggest need for tutoring, obviously, top is math for obvious reasons, and then followed by science and SPED are probably our biggest needs for tutoring. But that's an additional cost, and that's by hour, and you'll see it at the top of the website. And then we have a survey at the end to kind of get some data on your experience taking the boot camp as well. And then one thing I want to point out before we wrap this up is every course has a personalized certificate. So if you're an individual that needs to provide proof for your participation in the boot camp, you can print this out. This is not going to show here because if you notice, I don't have check marks on everything. You have to complete everything in the course, and it's going to unlock a personalized certificate. It'll have your name, it'll have the date, it'll have a distinct code assigned just to you, so people can't make copies of it for whatever reason. But that's an added bonus to the course. Now, if you're a school district watching this, you might use this for accountability. I have some school district partners that we work with that teachers submit this and they'll get a voucher to go get the test paid for, or maybe in-service points. It just depends on your need at your university or your school district. And for the individual, like I said, you might need to provide this for maybe a reimbursement or something on your end, or maybe you don't even need it at all. But just know that it's there, and you have to complete the entire course in order to unlock this. It'll be right on the screen, and there'll be a download button, and you'll be done and off to the races. Now, I want to point out that make sure you do the whole course from beginning to end. Do not skip around because you're only going to hurt yourself in the long run. 2, and I cannot reiterate this enough, a lot of teachers do this, and it kind of irks me. I'm just very transparent. Let's say you take a quiz and you get an 80%, and you're like, ooh, I did good. Let me move on. I don't need to watch all the review videos of my instructor because I did okay. No, watch every single video to a T. I don't care if you get questions right. A lot of people say, Dr. A, why? Why am I going to waste my time? I got 100 on the quiz. Well, here's why. We all know, and if you're going to lie to yourself, you got to own it yourself. We all know, myself included, that sometimes we get questions right on a test, but we got lucky. We really don't know the answer. We got it down to 2. We took an educational guess. Well, on this test, wouldn't it be nice to know with confidence that you got all the questions right or most of them? I'm sure you're shaking your head when you listen to me. Yeah, of course so, sir. Well, here's your chance. Get the discussion from the instructor. Leave that video knowing why the answer is correct, even if you got it right to begin with, right? Especially for my math people out there. If you're doing a math course, same thing. You might have got it right and you're like, oh, thank God. Go back and watch the instructor. Amy, for example, in the math boot camps, she's going to look at the problem in a multitude of ways. Learn the concept so you build confidence and you walk out of that a real deal exam knowing that you passed, right? Because always remember, It's when you pass, not if you pass. So with all that being said, thank you for taking your 10, 11 minutes of time with me. Hopefully you learned a lot about the courses. If you have any questions, you could always contact us on the website, or if you're working with one of our district sales executives like Phil Eddy, please feel free to reach out to him for some more information and setting up a Teams meeting online. If you're an individual teacher, you've got this. I've been in your shoes. I know your frustration. That's why I do what I do. I struggle myself going through my certification process, and I'm like, I want to help more people. So I started building this over the last 6 to 7 years. And I'm happy to announce that we help thousands of teachers every single year pass their exams, and you're up next. And if you're a school district, your teachers are up next, because my job is to make sure that they keep their job. So I wish you a great rest of your day, a rock star weekend, and I'll catch you soon.